Hello and welcome to Michicus Maximus's painting tutorial of a Termagant. I'm going to use a multitude of paints, well not really, about 6, to paint this Termagant here. I'm going to start from scratch and show you how it's done. Okay, so the paints that I'm going to be using are, first up, the base coat of Astronomicon Grey. Can get this from your local Games Workshop or any other games shop that sells it. Second, I'm going to be putting on a wash called Leviathan Purple. This is quite a nice one. You got to put it on pretty thick for it to look like that. So make sure you put it on thick with your wash brush, which I'll show you in a moment. Then I will be putting on a coat of Skull White onto the Astronomicon Grey areas. That's to just enunciate the joints. And then between that, there's going to be some red gore on parts of the arms and on the gun. And then for the hooves and the end of the gun, this part here, I'm going to be putting Chaos Black on. And then on top of the Chaos Black, going to be putting Scab Red to bring out that maroon color. Very nice, I think. And then the 3 spines, just here, going to be putting Lich Purple on. So that's just so that it looks similar to the Leviathan Purple. And then on top of the wash, as a final detail, I'm going to be feathering the little white lines on the end of the carapace there. It's called feathering. I'm going to be feathering with Skull White. So I'll just use my Chaos Black spray painted Termagant here, and I'll apply my base coat, and then I will put on my wash straight after it. Do not worry if you go over, over the edges, because you can just go over that with the base coat again. Alright, stay tuned. Again, and I have done the Astronomicon Grey base coat. Okay, so now it's nice and dry. I'm just going to show you the wash. So I've got my wash brush here. Citadel made this one, the wash brush. Can't really read that. Small, but oh well. So we're going to get the Leviathan Purple, just give it a bit of a shake, and be very careful when we open this up. It's nice and watery. Okay, so what we're going to do is just dip it in there. No wiping it off or anything. And to do the big carapace first, I'm just going to do a big stroke down the back. Okay, so we don't quite have enough here. Actually, we don't nearly have enough. Alright, get some more wash. Give it a wipe this time. We've already got some on there. Just going to go over it all again. So, we're pushing down relatively hard so that we can push more of the wash out of the brush. Now, if it doesn't turn out thick enough, feel free to go over with another coat, because that will be really good. The best thing about a wash actually is that it turns out already mottled, so it gives it that nice gradient look, which really adds to the piece, I think, especially when in the swarm. So on the gun is actually a bit difficult because we're getting the back of it. Just gonna check. Okay, that didn't get all of it really, but it's a swarm, so we don't have to be exact. I'll just do the head quickly, and then we're going to let that sit until it looks dry. Now you'll know that it's dry because it actually looks definitely like, oh well, you just know. There's really no defining factors. It's like when water dries it, you know it's dry because it's not wet anymore. Well, that's all the wash done. So the head, the back, both legs, and the top of the gun. Alright, so now I'm just going to paint all the body white, skull white, and these three little spots. As you can see, I have put white all over it, and in between all of the legs and stuff, all in the difficult places on the back of this arm here, it's all white. Don't worry so much about getting it on the base, because as I said, we can just go over it in Chaos Black after we finish all the other stuff, so like feathering and everything. So now what I'm going to do is just make these purple. So I'll just get my fine detail brush and I'll just quickly do that with my Lich Purple paint. I'm not going to worry about wetting this beforehand. Don't actually have to spread it over that much area. So I'm just gonna use the side of the brush to go along the top, like so. So that's the top done. And then I'm just gonna squish this little ball of paint that I was lucky enough to get on the end of my paintbrush along the sides of there, on the other side as well, and now on the inside. Don't want to leave out anything. And on the other side of the inside, because I put heaps of paint on the brush, on the inside is actually already done for me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do red along the bottom here, little bits on the cord and some of the other areas on the legs and in the joints here. So stay tuned. Welcome back. And I have finished my Termagant, apart from the base, which I don't get overly fussed about the base being black or not. So what I've done, the black paint on the end of here all the way around, even in these little divots, and then I've gone over it entirely with Scab Red, a nice thick coat, because actually if you don't get a thick coat on this, it turns out with black streaks on it. And then what I've done, when the Scab Red's dried, I put white, just little white splotches in each of these on both sides. And then I've gone with the red gore just along these little bits here, like the cord on the arm, the joint that's exposed in the elbows, the spikes on the back of the heels, and so on. Here I've just done the bottom of this cord, done the inside of it as well, and I've done the little things here, and so that's looking quite nice. And then on the hooves and on these little claws here, I've done the same thing as on the gun. I've done a nice coat of Chaos Black and then a really nice thick coat of Scab Red. It's turned out really nice and maroon. So on the feathering, what I've done is I've just dipped my fine detail brush in a tiny bit of white paint, and then I've just stroked it slowly back from where the carapace would overlap, and then I've just done that on each of them, but not on the legs nor on the top of the gun. So that is how I paint my Termagants. I don't worry about the eyes or the teeth because it is a swarm, and that's minor details that waste time and yeah, waste time, and my hand isn't quite steady enough to be able to do that. I hope you enjoyed. Please tune in to my next video. Thanks all for watching.